Welcome back to Catalan, guys. In this video, we're talking player rotation. How to rotate your players through different positions, the correct ways to do it, and most importantly, the things to avoid when rotating your players. So let's get straight into the video and help you guys with player rotation. Now, what we're not going to get into in this video is the merits of player rotation and when to start it, when to stop it. All those things can be very opinion-based, but as far as I'm concerned, players should rotate positions, and we're going to help coaches that want to do that. If you don't agree, that's absolutely fine. Click onto a different video, but this is all about how to get your players rotating into different positions without confusing them too much, especially when we're working with children. Now, why are we talking about player rotation? I've studied many grassroots clubs and many grassroots matches where I've seen coaches stood at the side of a match with a clipboard trying to rotate left back through centre mid moves to right wing goes to left wing. They just get confused. Now, if the coach is struggling to get this player rotation right, imagine what it feels like as the child on the pitch where you're playing 2, 3, 4 different positions within just one match. It's very difficult for kids to get their head round, so let's look at how to fix it. What we're going to do is split our team into 3 separate units. Unit number 1 is our defensive unit. That's our goalkeeper and any defending players. Unit number 2 is our midfield unit. That's anybody playing in front of the defence, behind the attack, central midfielders and wide midfielders. It all falls into the midfield unit. And then the final unit is the attacking unit. That includes wingers, that includes forwards, and that includes anybody playing in ahead of the midfield. Now, the reason that we're breaking them down into those units is so that you guys can practice in training, having players playing in those positions and getting used to them for a certain number of weeks. This isn't going to pigeonhole kids where you're going to keep them playing the same position for the entire season, but what you are going to do is give them some regularity and some rhythm to learning these positions. So the way to do this is you split your team into the 3 units, your entire squad, and you chop them up into defender, midfielder, or attacking unit. And then in training, you are going to run drills and practices where the attacking players are playing attacking roles and the defending players are playing defending roles. The midfielders are playing maybe part of the attack, maybe part of the defense, depending on whether they're in or out of possession, but that will help them learn these roles. Then you're going to work in 2 or 3 week cycles where a player will stay as a defensive unit or stay in the midfield unit or stay in the attacking unit for 3 weeks. If they train in the defensive unit for 3 weeks and then play in your matches for 3 weeks, that gives them a lot of rhythm, a lot of regularity, and it helps them understand the roles better. Now, the problem is you will get some players and some parents, unfortunately, who don't believe that they should be playing in defense or don't think they can play far forward in attack. But what you need to do is make sure you have this discussion with your parents, with your kids, so that they understand why you're doing it. You're going to learn how to defend properly. You're going to learn how to play midfield properly and learn how to attack properly. You could still end up playing in a different position as you get older and for the remainder of your career. But what you're trying to do is learn the game through a different lens. By understanding defensive duties and capabilities, then you can be better as an attacker. By understanding what a midfielder needs to do, then you can sympathise and you can empathise with what defenders have to do and how much they need to be protected by a midfield. So by breaking things down into a 3 week cycle, they will go defender or goalkeeper if you're still rotating goalkeepers at your age group. But defenders and goalkeepers work together, they train together, they play together in the games. And then after a 3 week cycle, your defenders move into midfield, your midfield unit move into attackers, and your attacking unit drop back into the defensive unit. And you go through a rotation cycle to keep players moving through the team and learning the game through those different lenses. Now, there's always going to be the odd injury or absence or something difficult that means that you can't work a perfect system. That's grassroots football, but try your best to stick to these principles of once a player is playing in that defensive unit, they train in that position, they play in that position for at least 2 or 3 weeks, get them used to it, get them to understand some principles, train the principles, and then bring it through into the matches. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, when you've seen a bit of understanding, then move them on to the next unit. Unfortunately, I've witnessed on several occasions players that are playing defence 1 week, midfield the next week, attack the next week, sometimes changing those positions within one match. And then in a training session, what are you going to work on with them? Defence, midfield, attack, all of it, all at once? It's nearly impossible. So break things down like a teacher would break down learning their times tables. You wouldn't go through your 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, all the way to your 12 times tables all at once. It's too much, too soon. What you would do with a child is go through times tables one at a time, maybe work on the 2s, then work on the 3s. And then what you would start to do is link them together. So if there are rules like the 2, the 4, the 6, the 8 times tables where they link together, then they would start to learn them at the same time. Then they would work through 3s and 6s and 9s, where again, there is a direct link between those numbers, and that will help them learn. And that's exactly how they would learn things at school. That's how they should learn on the football pitch. They learn about defending, about pressing, about covering, about balance. And then after 2 or 3 weeks of understanding it, they move on to that midfield area. In the midfield area, they're still looking at things like pressing, so there's a slight overlap just like in the times tables, but they're also learning about different areas of the game, like runners going in behind them, a 360-degree angle of view when they're trying to play, making sure they're playing with width and they're expansive, making sure that they're compact and protecting players behind them, making sure that they're supporting the attackers as well. And then they move on to the attacking unit, where they're learning about runs off the ball, they're learning about movement and spreading out, learning about having a shooting instinct, creating chances for other people, and all the other things that come in the attacking third. So if you can put all that together, I guarantee your player rotations will be better, smoother, and your kids will see a benefit. But please, even if you're not going to follow my method, stop the method of this scattergun approach where a kid plays defense, midfield, attack, all within one game, their head's spinning, they don't get any success in all 3 of those areas, and make it really, really difficult. And if you want my personal opinion, don't pigeonhole kids into thinking that they've got to be a defender because they're quite good at it at 7 or 8 years old. Believe me, Gareth Bale was still a left back at, what was it, 26, something, 26, 25? He was still playing left back at that age. So believe me, your 8 and 9-year-olds are not going to be defenders for their whole career, or shouldn't be anyway. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope that helps with your player rotations. Give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't done already, and I will catch you in the next one.